cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife, leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white.
Well, good evening everyone, and welcome to Austria and the Salzburgring for today's round of the World Touring Car Challenge, presented to you by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. The series partnered and sponsored by Apex Tracks, Powermax Racing, Track Racer UK, Fast R603 Autosport and Joyce Design. Welcome along everyone, and as we said, we're here in Austria, the Salzburgring in Plainfeld, Austria. The Western Austrian track, a stone's throw away from the German border. 300 kilometers west of the capital of Vienna and 130 kilometers southeast of Munich in Germany. This track was built in 1968, and the track is visually famous for its picturesque mountainous location. And of course, the Red Bull logos you see peppered all over the circuit, as this is one of two circuits in Austria that is owned by the Red Bull franchise. The Red Bull bridge you saw over the start-finish line just then, Red Bull also own the majority in the stakes of the Salzburg top flight football team, RB Salzburg. This track on RaceRoom costs just £2.53 to buy the 4.2 kilometre circuit that is a rather unconventional shaped track, a bit like a bean really, but it is no short of excitement, this circuit, as you'll see tonight. 8 turns on this circuit, really not too many, but all those corners are absolute killers on the tyres due to the banking, the elevation changes and the sheer speed of this circuit. 5 turns to the right and 3 to the left, all presenting a big challenge to our drivers. And hosted over the years, well, hasn't hosted many in the form of top flight racing, but it did have its all glory in the World Touring Car Championship Race of Austria from 2012 to 2014. And speaking of World Touring Cars, that is what we're racing tonight. 4 manufacturers available to the drivers from 3 different years of World Touring Car Championship: 2015, 2016 and 2017, the last 3 years of the World Touring Car franchise. We had the Chevrolet Cruze made famous by Tom Coronel, the Honda Civic made famous by Gabriele Tarquini and Tiago Montero. We have the Lada Vesta made famous by Katzberg and Rob Huff, and many drivers such as James Thompson and Gabriele Tarquini again. The Volvo S60 Polestar made famous by Ted Björk, of course, home of the Cyan Racing team back then. 4 manufacturers, all with different characteristics, we're all going to see tonight. The itinerary for tonight is as follows. We have qualifying coming up in just over 5 minutes time. That session will be 15 minutes in length, and it will set the grid for race 1. Race 1, of course, the grid's based on qualifying results, will be a 15-minute sprint race. Following almost immediately after race 1 will be another 15-minute sprint race, where the grid for that race will be based on the results of race 1, but the top 10 from the race results will be reversed. So the driver who finishes in 10th will end up on pole position for race 2. There'll be a quick intermission in between races 2 and 3, but when we come back for race 3, it'll be a 25-minute feature race, where the grid for that race will be based on the results of race 2, but the top 18 will be reversed. So the person who finishes 18th in race 2 will start pole for race 3. That's the itinerary for tonight, but the itinerary for the season is as follows. We started off just over a month ago actually at Monza in Italy, just south of us, and we ventured west to Paul Ricard for round 2 in France, north to Belgium to Spa-Francorchamps, and then we headed southeast to the Slovakia Ring, which was 2 weeks ago. And then 1 week ago we headed to the Hungaroring, what a round that was. And today we're here at the Salzburgring. Unfortunately next week we haven't got any racing. The drivers are going to have a week off, but when we come back in 2 weeks from today, it'll be round 7 of the championship, the start of the second half of the season at the Moscow Raceway in Russia. Round 8 of the championship will be at the Sonoma Raceway in Sears Point Valley, USA on the 11th of November. Round 9 of the championship will be in Japan for the Twin Ring Motegi circuit, and not too long ago we raced at the Twin Ring Motegi in the IndyCar series on Crest Autosport. Shanghai will host round 10 of the championship in China with the intermediate WTCC layout, not the full layout of the circuit. Round 11 will be hosted at the Chang Raceway in Thailand with plenty of high speeds, long straights and fast corners, presenting a big challenge for the penultimate round of the season. And the final round of the season, well, where else is it going to be? It's the Green Hell Nordschleife in Germany on the 9th of December. Set your calendars for that event. It's going to be extraordinary. You can still get involved in this championship if you have RaceRoom and if you have a racing setup. You can get involved in the championship. All you have to do is go to crestautosport.com or nextgenracing.co.uk to get involved in the series. There are prizes on offer for the top 3 of the Pro and Am category. If you're entering now, it'd be a bit late to try yourself out for those trophies, but you can still get involved in the series and get involved in this great racing. Or if you're a fan, just keep watching these live streams on YouTube, Twitch, and both Crest Autosport and Next Gen Racing Facebook pages. Do give us a like, follow, and subscribe to stay tuned with all the racing both channels have to offer. You join us with live pictures of the circuit here at Salzburgring. What a track we have in store for us today. We're going to be getting a few onboards today off the track, as we're going to be talking a lot about this circuit. There's not many corners, as we mentioned, on this track. 8 official turns, although there's quite a few lefts and rights along some straights here, none of which I could be bothered to count at the start of the race here. But it's a killer on the tyres, this track is. As you see Lee Horne here plunging into what was turn 5 of the circuit. It is very demanding on the tyres, and as we see, 19 drivers in the server right now. It's going to be an interesting one, and there's a couple of new, in fact there's one new driver here tonight. We'll work on along soon. There's a couple of drivers returning from an absent week last week. Matej Zenko is one of them. He was one of the stars of the show at the Slovakia Ring round. I believe he picked up our Driver of the Day award, but he picked up first in race 1 back at Slovakia Ring, and he picked up a win also 1 week before that at Spa-Francorchamps in race 3. So this person, 15th in the championship, one definitely to look out for. Top of the standings at the moment is William Barrera in the pits right now, but William Barrera is notorious for doing very, very good laps, but it has been a struggle for him in the races, and it has affected his championship. But while we're talking about that, let's actually get to the race results of last week. So here they are, last week's results at the Hungaroring. William Barrera did take pole position, and he went on to win it. It was a little bit of a calm race in race 1, as the top 3 remained the same, with Lee Horne finishing 2nd and David Kernhan finishing 3rd. Race 2, it all kicked off. People on a very difficult track to overtake on, desperate to make moves. But it was Jamie Dory who came out on top out of all of them, taking the win in race 2, with Neil Crave behind and William Barrera getting himself from 10th to 3rd in that race. Race 3 was also fireworks, as we saw Jeff Purkis from 2nd spot on the grid take the win, but he was hunted down by Lee Horne, who caught but couldn't pass him in the final moments of the race. He had to settle for 2nd, and Jamie Dory getting himself from the back of the grid to 3rd place. A fantastic drive from him, and Lee Horne earning himself the Apex Tracks Driver of the Day award that day. And this is what it did to the championship. A swap for the top 2 places. It was 10 points between Lee Horne and Jeff Purkis, but in Purkis' favour. After his bad luck in race 2 last time, it really did shake it up for him. Lee Horne takes the lead in the championship by 9 points ahead of Jeff Purkis, and with William Barrera 40 points behind Lee Horne, they're in 3rd place. Neil Crave got a penalty in the Hungaroring, which set him back quite a bit. He's in 4th on 408 points. David Kernhan 5th, with Jamie Dory 6th. Heike Navalov still looking for his first win of the season in 7th, as is Alex Ward. And Ian Deeney there in 9th, with 10th place belonging to Elliott House. I say this every week, and people are quite familiar with it now, but for people who aren't aware, the championship standings, the top 10 we just read through there, also decides what ballast the drivers will carry into qualifying race 1 and race 2 here today. So ballast is basically weight applied to the car to give them a little bit of a top end speed and handling disadvantage to slow the cars down, basically, in other words. I was trying to say it politely, but it didn't quite turn out that way, so I said it as it was. Lee Horne has the most ballast on 40 kilograms, and it runs down in increments of 4 across the top 10. The ballast will reset for race 3, however. Race 3 will be based on the results of qualifying, which we'll see very, very shortly. We also have a team's championship, and at the top it is still Lada Sport Rosneft 2016, which is fielding the drivers of Matej Zenko, Neil Crave and William Barrera. In second place is Alex Ward and Lee Horne with Munich Motorsports in the Chevrolet. And then the Honda JAS Team 2017, which is vacated by the drivers Heike Navalov and Ian Deeney. They're in third place. And we also have the AM category championship to follow in this championship. Elliott House, top of the stands at the moment, just a couple of points, 18 points ahead of Roy Plummer, last season's AM category championship winner. And he is just 5 points ahead of Ollie Janssen in third position. So there we go. Championship standings, and now we are into qualifying. Let's get going. Drivers getting a little bit warmed up as we head round the circuit here. We are watching William Barrera quickest in practice, but along with his teammates, the Warrior Motorsport drivers, William Barrera, Neil Crave and Matej Zenko, all three of them top of the standings in practice, showing their domination as they have a lot of the season so far. Matej Zenko with 2 wins to his name, Neil Crave with a win to his name, and in fourth in the championship, and William Barrera, well, it's William Barrera. He has picked up 7 podium finishes this season and 3 race wins. He's also picked up 4 pole positions, so he certainly is one of the men to beat. But the championship standings hasn't made it easy for him. Other drivers getting better results in the races where William Barrera hasn't quite been on tip-top form. But there's a long way to go yet in this season, as the conclusion of tonight will see us out of the opening half of the season. For now, let's get an on-board lap of Salzburgring with William Barrera as we approach the notorious MCO chicane. Why is it notorious? Because it's got 2 big pillars on the apex of the corners. It's quite a fast chicane, it's very narrow. You try overtaking by there and it might lead to disaster. But that was turns 1 and 2. We now head towards turn 3, the Nordschleife curve. Long right-hander here, banked corner. Keep it nice and tight on the entrance. Down on the accelerator as early as you can for the exit. Very, very fast, long section here. The cars will get near their top speeds now, all the way across the whole width of the circuit as we head towards the Nordschleife corner, which isn't coming up yet. We're still gaining speed. 6th gear, near 260 kilometers per hour. Down we go, staying in 6th gear, keeping it nice and tight on the inside. A little bit of grass to help step out the rear. Now braking into the Faher Lager curve. Long right-hander banked again. And of course, banking means more tyre wear. Into the chicane we go. Left, right. And then the final corner on this circuit. It's quite a short circuit here, is Salzburgring. And that is a lap of the Salzburgring on board with William Barrera. And he'll cross the line. And it will be a lap time of 1:21.4. I didn't actually see what he got in practice, I missed that, but so far so good, as other drivers coming through are not getting near those times, especially championship leader right now, number 8 there, Lee Horne, 4th place right now, 0.8 of a second behind the top spot. Got a few drivers come back tonight. There is Matej Zenko, as we mentioned, but also new to the championship. A welcome back. I'm so glad to see this guy back in the Crest Autosport RaceRoom Leagues and Next Gen Racing RaceRoom Leagues Championships. Zaraya Grunian, welcome back to the Sim Racing King of Ukraine. It's great to see him. Let's see how he'll get on tonight. He is notoriously godlike in the WTCRs. I've had a hassle racing with him over the years, but it's good to see him. And a couple of drivers getting a little bit tussly on the grass there. As we saw Neil Crave behind Stephen, that's not Stephen de Gravelia, that was Andrea Balsio, his teammate, getting out of the way of him, it might have been. As he goes through the Nordschleife curve. And other drivers putting themselves on the leaderboard. 15 of the 18 drivers have put themselves on the leaderboard right now. Someone has slipped out of the server in the last few seconds. I think it was Elliott House, actually. Normally Elliott House the server quite late, and this might be one of them. Neil Crave coming around the final corner, looking pretty good in Sector 2 here. Sector 3 looked good as well, but he puts himself second, just shy of a 10th behind his teammate. They'll be pleased with that so far. Top 2 for the pair of them. Who else are we looking at here? Ian Deeney. A race winner already this season at Paul Ricard. Missed out on a win in race 2. He held the lead for a lot of race 2 last week at the Hungaroring, but in the end finishing 4th. We've got Lee Horne getting a little bit of a slipstream from the car ahead, which is Fraser Rostance, I believe. The two next-gen drivers working together to get the slipstream. To be fair to Lee, the Chevrolet needs it. This is going to be a track that the Chevrolet does struggle on. Couldn't quite catch the top speed of the Chevrolet then. Going into turn 4, excuse me. But we have been saying it all season, where the Chevrolet has been making up its time is in the corners. Having said that, there's not many corners on this circuit, so the Chevrolet is a bit of a sitting duck tonight. It was pretty good at the Hungaroring, and it was pretty good at Slovakia Ring, and it was pretty good at Paul Ricard. But we are running out of tracks now where there are a lot of corners. Moscow Raceway might be a track favoured to the faster cars, as we see Lee Horne put himself into 5th position. But the only real notable track I think that's on the schedule that will really suit the Chevrolet above all other cars is going to be either the Nordschleife. That's a point. The Nordschleife's quite a fast track, but there's a lot of corners. The only other one would be Sonoma. It's not really a high-speed track, Sonoma is, and all the elevation changes means the grip on these cars is paramount. They do have an open setup, so they can set up the cars to their liking. Sonoma might be where the Chevrolet becomes the top car. Majerzenko, double race winner this season in the number 10 car. Can he get himself higher than 7th? He did well in practice, got himself into the top 3. The driver I definitely want to point out, although he's in the pits right now, is Jürgen Masby Pedersen. Jürgen's been struggling this season. He drove the Honda for the first 5 rounds, and he has made the switch to the Lada Vesta. Now, you are not allowed to switch cars without taking a deduction in points in this championship. You do get minus 25% of your accumulated points when you do decide to switch cars, so Jürgen has taken a hit for that. It has dropped him quite a lot of places. He's down to 20th overall in the championship, and in the AM category he sits 7th. But if you look where he is on the leaderboard right now, so far, pretty intelligent move from the Danish driver. Yeah, Zaraya Garunian, 11th at the moment, just behind Ian Deeney. Zaraya hasn't raced on RaceRoom for quite some time, and he hasn't raced these cars for a long time, that's for certain, so it's going to take him a little bit of warming up to get accustomed with these cars yet again. And the 19th driver of Elliott House appears in the server again. He'll have to go out and set a time. He's leading the AM category, so he definitely wants to keep performing well. That's certain with Elliott House. Alex Ward, no time on the board yet for him. Second highest of the drivers in the championship without a race win, just behind Heike Navalov. And here we're looking at Zaraya Garunian with not a bad first sector. Let's see how he gets on for sector 2. Now, if you looked at the kilometers per hour on the Volvo then, it only hit about 250. Compare that to the Lada on the first lap we saw with William Barrera. It was nearly up to 260. And the Volvo is going to be a bit like the Chevrolet. It struggles for top end speed, but it is pretty good in the corners. And Zaraya Garunian pulls out of a lap there. Going a little bit wide on the chicane. Had to abort his lap. Here we got David Kernhan in 3rd place. David Kernhan has been one of the drivers we didn't really know much about before this season started. He did a few rounds last season in the Euro TCR Championship we hosted. But this season he's really just taken to it like a duck on water. He missed the opening round, but he has not finished outside of the top 10 once this season. Not once. He's picked up 2 wins along the way. So doing very well in the championship. 5th in the championship despite missing a round. But talking about missing rounds, drop rounds are part of this season. There will be 2 on offer to all drivers. and the first of 2 will be implemented after tonight. So that is where the drivers who have missed a round are going to make up a lot of lost ground. And one of them is the aforementioned David Kernhan. Jamie Dory is another. And there's a few drivers in that list. There is Ian Deeney as well. Roy Plummer has missed a round. Ollie Hansen has missed a round. Matt Zenko has missed 2. Mark Arrowsmith has missed 1, and he's missing tonight, unfortunately. He's what is he doing? What's Mark Arrowsmith doing tonight? He did say, and I kind of laughed at what he was doing. As William Barrera is coming around sector 3 now, he might beat his time. He might extend that lead at the top. Comes around the final corner. That looked pretty neat. A little bit of a brush of the grass on the outside there. That might not affect it too much, although it might have. No, it doesn't. He does go quicker. He goes a few hundredths quicker, which puts him 2/10 clear of his nearest rival, who is his teammate, Neil Crave. Common Corkery in the green Honda here. Irish colours on his car, I've just noticed. And he set a personal best in Sector 1. 13th at the moment for Coleman. Now, to admit, the Honda will be very, very fast on the back straight of this circuit. But in the corners it will struggle, as we see there. Coleman gets very sideways through the chicane. It's one of those cars that you can't just throw about. You have to be so finesse with that Honda, as we see the blue Honda of Ollie Hansen, my favourite livery on the grid. I keep mentioning it. The Rickard Rydell livery there. It is a car you have to drive with some finesse. You can't turn the steering wheel too much. You have to let the rear end do the talking in that car. Ollie Hansen approaches the end of the lap. Green in for sectors 1, 2 and 3, but doesn't go any higher on his positions. Improved his time a little bit, but stays 14th at the moment, does Ollie Hansen. Matej Zenko. Personal best in sector 1. Personal best in sector 2. Not a bad sector 2 at all. Sector 3, very short sector here. Only a couple of seconds, but can this get him above 6th place in the standings? Yes, it does. Into the top 3 goes Matej Zenko, making it a Warrior Motorsport to 1, 2, 3 right now, with 3 minutes to go in this session. Brilliant from the Warriors team. And the only driver not to set a time yet is Elliot House, as he messes up the chicane a little bit there. He's turned in too late for that final corner as well. That will ease off a lot of speed, and it was looking pretty good in sectors 1 and 2 for Elliot House, but he puts himself 13th for now. Yes, he does. It's Elliot House, one of the highest AM drivers now in the field, in qualifying after just 1 lap. Jürgen Matby Pedersen is the quickest at the moment in 9th. We switch to Anastasios Georgiadis, another AM category driver, in 17th, personal best in sector 1. Georgiadis was 2nd in the AM category championship last season, battling with Roy Plummer right to the final race in that championship. He is 36 points down in the AM championship right now. Still within reach, but he's got some work to do, and with drop rounds at play, that might help him out, as I believe Georgiadis hasn't missed a round this season, but drop rounds might well help him out. We'll see. As he does a personal best time, but he still only manages 17th for the moment. A lot of drivers coming out that final corner there. Barrera's in there, Alex Ward's in there. The number 5 car, I believe that's Ian Deeney. Montero's car in there, I think that's Fraser Rostad's, or it was Heike Navalov. As we're seeing Coleman Corkery with an even better sector 1 here. Can sector 2 be even better? We have seen with the Honda, sector 3 is catching them out. We have seen with all these cars tonight, as they're probably setting it up with low rear wing settings, which means it's going to be very loose for the final sector here. Left, right, changing of directions, which means the weight transfer is all over the place in the car. Not a bad lap from Coleman Corkery. Puts himself back into 13th place from 15th. A lot of drivers not out on the track. They have decided to call it a day on their times. But a lot of the drivers have. William Barrera, Neil Crave, Zenko, Kernhan, Horne, Dini, Pedersen, Navluf, Grunion, Dory and House have all decided to call it a day on qualifying. So it looks like that top 4 is set unless other drivers have something to say about it. Fraser Rustins, what can he do? No better. He stays 5th for the time being. Jeff Perkis, previous championship leader, what can he do? Not doing particularly well in the sectors. Pretty good 3rd sector, but stays 7th at the moment. And that will be our qualifying done and dusted. So at the top of the standings, that is William Barrera with Neil Crave in 2nd, Matej Zenko in 3rd. David Kernhan in 4th, followed by Fraser Rostens and Lee Horne in 6th. Jeff Perkis takes 7th from Ian Deeney in 8th, Jürgen Masby Pedersen 9th and Heike Navalov in 10th. Alex Ward will take 11th from Zariah Garunian in 12th, Coleman Corkery 13th, Jamie Dory in 14th. Disappointing for him. 15th for Elliot House, Ollie Jensen 16th, Anastasios Georgiadis 17th, Andrea Balcio in 18th, and Stephen de Grevalia rounding off the back in 19th. So I have a new setup tonight, so I think I'm going to struggle with displaying the qualifying results. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and fix that at some point tonight. Oh dear. But yeah, just enjoy warm up here as we get ready for the race. A lot of drivers going to practice their starts here. Yeah, so we'll have to make do with the results displayed as they are there. RaceRoom doesn't really allow us any accessibility to results of sessions, so we have to improvise with good old Windows print screen to capture those results and display them for you later on down the line. We're going to need those qualifying results for later on in the night, let alone the grid for this race, which we'll go through now. Once again, William Barrera will line up on pole alongside his teammate Neil Crave. Right behind William Barrera is his other teammate Matej Zenko in 3rd place. David Kernhan lines up 4th with Fraser Rustins in 5th. Lee Horne, championship leader, in 6th, followed by Jeff Perkis. Ian Deeney in 8th, followed by AM category quickest, Jürgen Masby Pedersen. 10th is Heike Navalov with Alex Ward in 11th. Zariah Garunian, welcome back to the championship to him. He lines up 12th with Coleman Corkery in 13th. Jamie Dory, a disappointing qualifying for him, 14th. Let's see what he can do tonight though, the forever forward leader. Elliot House 15th with Ollie Jansen 16th, Anastasios Georgiadis in 17th, 18th is Andrea Balcio, and Stephen de Grevalia 19th. But we're on the grid, ready for this first race of the night. On the front row is William Barrera. Away we go, and it's a drive-through penalty already for someone. I think that was Zariah Garunian. Not used to the launch control that has changed in these cars so much since he last came onto RaceRoom. But here we go, down towards turn 1 we go. William Barrera leads them all into the dangerous first corner here at Salzburgring. Through we go. Zenko takes 2nd place from Neil Crave. Through the corner we go. And Neil Crave trying to get it back right away. I think everyone has got through the first corner safe and sound, but Neil Crave on the inside of David Kernhan here, trying the outside, looked like a quicker line. 4 Larders at the front here, and what a start for Lee Horne. He's up to 5th place already, past Fraser Rostons. Let's get on board with Lee Horne. That's the battle in front of David Kernhan versus Neil Crave, of which David Kernhan has put himself into 3rd place past his fellow Brit driver, Neil Crave. He's disturbing the Warrior Motorsports triumph that they're trying to get at the moment. Into the fast right-hander they go. Lee Horne stays 5th place ahead of fellow next-gen driver Fraser Rostons. And look at William Barrera, he's just driving away already. Impressive pace for the Italian in qualifying and practice, showing that in the race so far. Perkis gets ahead. Oh, he did show me he was ahead of Fraser Rostons, but he stays in 7th for the time being. But our race order after lap 1: Barrera from Zenko, Kernhan, Crave, Horne, Rostons, Perkis, Deeney, Pedersen and Ward rounds off the top 10. And into the pits back there goes Zariah Garunian to serve his penalty. Ian Deeney looking in all directions to try a move on Jeff Perkis, but it couldn't quite happen just yet. Got to be so careful through that first corner, particularly in a race situation for these drivers, because overtaking in that first corner throws the potential danger of hitting the tyre wall on the inside of the corners. Good start to this race for Jürgen Mansby Pedersen in the AM category, right behind Ian Deeney, just ahead of Alex Ward. Jamie Dory up to 14th at the moment. I think he started 15th, so he's still trying to make up some ground. Elliot House right ahead of him, battling with Coleman Corkery here, side by side as they come down towards long right-hander. Corkery has the better line of the two, the long sweeping right-hander. Can he stay alongside? No, he can't. Elliot House got back in front, up into 12th place. Goes the AM category championship leader. Jamie Dory trying to move on Coleman Corkery, going into the right-hander here. Nose on the inside and the door closed by Corkery. They're staying side by side, but Corkery stays in front for the time being. Lee Horne getting real close to Neil Crave. Crave is struggling at the in 4th place. It seems he's dropped 1 place already. And this is the view from the Chevrolet. The Larder's just pulling away on the straight here, so it's difficult for Lee Horne to line up a move here on this track due to that. But look at it all bunching up. Oh, and a good run out of the corner there for Lee Horne, but it was undone as David Kernhan held up Neil Crave, and it bunched up, the concertinaed up the field. Frostons is on the inside of Lee Horne as a result. Capitalise on that slowdown from Lee Horne. And back into 5th place goes Frostons potentially. Tucking back in behind is Lee Horne. Try something to get it back past. He felt the opportunity come, did Lee Horne, but he wasn't able to swerve the steering wheel enough to get it around the bunched up cars ahead of him. As a result, he loses the position. And look at Jeff Perkis really catching up with the Chevrolet down this section of the track. Into the long right-hander we go. It's still quite close between 2nd and 7th here, as Lee Horne tries a move on Fraser Rostons on the inside. Rostons left the door open, and Rostons suddenly realised Lee Horne is there. What a move from Lee Horne. Had to take that opportunity, and he did so. And he's already not messing around. He's trying on Neil Crave yet again already. This is allowing Matej Zenko to stretch away in 2nd place there, and also is helping William Barrera stretch his lead out. Less worries of losing that potential win. And guarding the inside is David Kernhan going into turn 1. The driver's back out of it. Oh, and that's Matej Zenko gone wide coming out of the chicane there. Not able to see a replay on RaceRoom, unfortunately, but he blocks off Fraser Rostons to not lose any more positions. And going into turn 3, look at this. Neil Crave takes both of them. Takes Lee Horne and David Kernhan going through the middle. And Lee Horne is up into the top 3 as well. So Kernhan and Zenko struggling coming out of turns 1 and 2 there. Kernhan drops to 8th, and he's still dropping down. Something might have happened. Has he got a puncture? Yes, he has. Kernhan has a puncture. I'm not sure how that happened. It might have been contact with Matej Zenko, but he drops down the order here. Oh, such rotten luck. The punctures look so hard hitting in RaceRoom. But it is an element of racing. That releases Lee Horne and Neil Crave, who were 4th and 5th just a minute ago. They're now second and third. Zenko has to try and get that position back. Neil Crave went a bit too quick through turn one of the chicane here. He lost out big time going through the chicane there, and Lee Horne might have found himself back in front. Yes, he has. Into second place goes Lee Horne, starting 6th on the grid. He's up into second. Brilliant racing from him. Into turn one he goes. And this is what we were talking about. Zenko might have hit the bollard in the middle of the chicane, slowing him down. And that might have been actually what happened to David Kernhan. Kernhan is in the pits to repair his puncture. Not visible on the cars. You can feel them. You can see them and hear them. Sorry, you can hear them and you can feel them, but you can't see him. Oh, and he went too far in his pit stall to add insult to injury. Now, this is the part of the track where Lee Horne is at his weakest, particularly when he has got no slipstream. As past goes Neil Crave. Very easy overtake indeed, unless Lee Horne can hang on to the inside. Crave shifting it sideways, getting real close to the grass there, and he has to back off a little more, which allows Lee Horne back up the inside. Back into second place could go Lee Horne. Neil Crave fights back, but the Chevrolet's so good through the corners, it's able to keep that position. Back into second goes Lee Horne, and he goes wide, hits the gravel a little bit there. That's going to get loads of dirt on his tyres. He'll lose grip through this final part of the chicane. Oh, and wide again. That allows Neil Crave back alongside. There's Lee Horne, and to the left you might see Neil Crave very shortly. There he is. And Natej Zenko has got back in front. He sneaks in front of the Chevrolet as well. And look at this queue developing behind. That consists of Rostens, Perkis, Deeney, House and Pedersen. Up into turn 3 we go. We're just over the halfway point in this race right now. William Barrera having a bit of a song and dance about this. Definitely. 7 seconds clear with the battling top. The rest of the top 10 here. What can Lee Horne do? It's a bit of a sitting duck to the larders slipstreaming each other. Neil Crave trying to hold off his teammate a little bit here, or are they working together? I'm not too sure. Can't quite tell at this moment in time. Fraser Rostens back up with Lee Horne. No matter what Lee Horne tries, the larders just keep getting him back. It's going to be interesting tonight seeing the Chevrolets mix it in with the larders and the Hondas. The highest of the Hondas right now is Fraser Rostens here. Oh, it's wide then. Went Mariusz Zenko, and Lee Horne has not got enough power down the straights to make his way past what was the stricken larder there. But it does allow Neil Crave to stretch away a little bit. And they get so close to the bollard, do these drivers do, because it's the fastest way through the chicane. Best way through a chicane is to straight line it as much as you can, particularly here at Salzburgring. Now, the battle for the top 10. It's always crucial, this position here, as it gets you pole position for the next race, which is held by Alex Ward at the moment. And he might be under some threat soon. Anastasios Georgiadis, Coleman Corkery, Heike Navalov and Ollie Jansen. Keep an eye on this battle for the moment. If Georgiadis can get himself into the top 10, he'd be very pleased about that. So it puts him in the running for a good result against his fellow AM category drivers. You see Lee Horne getting very close under braking on the larders there, because it can just get that much later on the brakes and gain rapidly on the ladder. Look how close he is to the rear, but on the other part of the circuit, Lee Horne just can't get close. do excuse me, was just dealing with an issue then. But we continue on with this race. I'm just going to remind myself, because I forgot, of the starting order there. Now, I'm going to draw your attention to this person in 6th place, Elliott House. He started 15th. What a race he's having. And he's not given up yet. He's going to try and get himself into 5th position. Oh, as he pulls into the pits. Oh, what's happened here? Oh my word, what was looking like a good result for Elliott House? What's happened here? You know what, if he had any more luck, he'd have none at all. He drops out of contention. Was it fuel he was trying to pick up then? Drops well down the order. And it shakes up the top 10. Into the top 10 goes Anastasios Georgiadis, under some threat from Coleman Corkery at the moment. This is the battle for reverse grid pole. Look at this. Coleman Corkery really struggling down the straight here. Heike Navalov all over the rear of him. Just shy of 3 minutes to go in this session. Coleman Corkery, no move from him just yet. Going through the chicane, this is Lee Horne, still got the sight of Larders ahead of him. A good exit from this chicane, but the straight line speed of the Larder, he just can't overcome at the moment. Pulling out of the slipstream, there's Matesenko. Oh, very late on the brakes. And Neil, he had to stamp on them to stay behind Neil Crave and protect his teammate. But still, Lee Horne can't find a way past or around. It's a tricky corner to overtake on. I mean, he had Konstantina up as well. Matesenko is not making it easy for himself in this race. He has fallen down the order, got back up it, and a few dramas here and there. But still, a very good result as it stands for Warriors Motorsport, and the next-gen driver of Lee Horne is just trying to put a spanner in the works there. We see Matesenko really gaining on Neil Crave. Neil Crave lacking the slipstream that Matesenko does have. And no move yet from Zenko. They definitely are keeping in position, it seems. Definitely trying to hold position and see it through to the end, as William Barrera will come through the final few corners and will start his final lap upon the conclusion of this one. One more lap to go for the Italian driver, who at the conclusion of this race could take his 4th win of the season, more than any other driver. Horne is going to be desperate to try something on this final part of the race here. Zenko stamping on the brakes again. He's trying to protect his teammate. And Lee Horne is just stuck behind, trying to sneak his nose through the right side of Zenko then, but couldn't quite make it. Into turn 3 we go. Running out of corners. There's not many corners on this circuit, so not many opportunities left for Lee Horne to make a move. This isn't going to be one. He has to get a very good exit from the right-hander to make a move. And look at this. This is Rostens versus Perkis. Perkis, the previous championship leader, going into Hungaroring a week ago. They're very, very close. Once the camera changes to looking at a pretty hill then. Still side by side between them two. And Perkis has taken 5th place from Fraser Rostens. Well timed move, but Rostens trying to get him back on the inside, going into the next corner here. Rostens is sideways and he spins it. Rostens is going to keep going. And can he stay in 6th place? But we have to look away as William Barrera takes the win here at Salzburgring, race 1 of the night. A dominant victory by near 10 seconds ahead of his teammates Neil Crave and Matej Zenko. Lee Horne tried his absolute best, but could only manage 4th in the end. A valiant effort from him. Perkis with a daring move on the final lap, and questionable space given to Fraser Rostens, but it is 6th place for Rostens. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen with, I think it's his best result of the season. Yes, it is. He gets himself into 7th place in this race, in his first race in the Lada. Ian Deeney takes 8th position from Alex Ward in 9th. And Anastasios Georgiadis, AM category driver, will take reverse grid pole position, having finished 10th in this race. Coleman Corkery will take 11th place from Heike Navalov in 10th. Ollie Hansen takes 13th, and Zaraya Garunian had a drive-through penalty, but still got himself up a fair few positions to finish 14th. Bravo to him. Stephen de Gravelia with a mangled front end there takes 15th position. And a struggling Jamie Dory, 16th for him. David Kernhan comes around the final corner, having served a pit stop due to a puncture, takes 17th. And there we go, rather unsurprisingly, fastest lap goes to William Barrera. Neil Crave is 2nd, and Zenko rounds off the top 3. And reverse grid pole winner is Anastasios Georgiadis. We are going to go away for a quick break, but when we come back, it'll be race 2. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. Welcome back everyone to Austria, the Salzburgring Grand Prix circuit. This is the World Touring Car Challenge presented by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. And race 2 of the night is coming up in just under a minute. And very quickly we're going to try and go through, if we can even display it, the grid for this next race. Do bear with me. Slightly new setup tonight, so it's a little bit tricky to navigate all of this. So, at the top of the standings, William Barrera. But it is the top 10 reverse for this next race to form the grid. Georgiadis will start on pole, followed by Alex Ward. Ian Deeney will start third with Jürgen Matsby-Pedersen in fourth. Fifth will start Fraser Rostens with Jeff Perkis starting in sixth. Starting seventh will be Lee Horne, followed by Matej Zenko. On the fifth row will be Neil Crave and race winner William Barrera. Starting 11th will be Coleman Corkery with Heike Avalov starting 12th. Ollie Jansen will start 13th with Zariah Garunian returning to the series 14th. 15th will be Stephen de Gravelia with Jamie Dory in 16th. David Kernhan, who nursed a puncture in the previous race, 17th. Elliot House, who I think had to get fuel, 18th. And Andrea Balcio in 19th. I know it's not ideal way of displaying the results in qualifying, but it's all we can manage with RaceRoom, unfortunately. But we're about to go for the second race of the night here at Salzburgring. On behalf of Crest Autosport TV and NXTGEN Racing TV, welcome along to the live stream. Give us a like, share, follow, or subscribe, or all of them. It does help the algorithms giving us likes. And it's much appreciated, but we're about to get underway with racing that we're going to appreciate. It is Anastasios Georgiadis on the front row in the green Honda, and alongside him is Alex Ward, and away we go, and it's a jump start for Elliot House, I think, but away they go. Can Alex Ward get himself a good start here? He might have found himself alongside the Greek driver as we head down towards turn 1. Georgiadis on the right, and on the inside is Alex Ward, and into turn 1 we go. Ward has taken the lead from the Greek driver, and through we go. Brilliant move from the Brit to get himself into the top spot. Ian Deeney holding up Jürgen Matsby-Pedersen there, and I think most have got through turn 1 relatively safely. Yes, they have. Surprising, real surprising, because turn 1 is bad. Nothing to do with the field. The field are actually proving it all wrong. They are brilliant driving thus far. Good start to this race from Alex Ward. Not a race winner yet in the series. Can this be the one? But he's in the underpowered Chevrolet. It's going to be very tricky indeed. William Barrera already up 2 places, and he's trying to make his way past Lee Horne already. Give us a better camera angle. There we go. Into the long right-hander. Lee Horne is powering his way through the corner, trying to keep it on the outside here. William Barrera still finds the inside. Can Lee Horne power around the outside to keep the position? He holds onto it, but he needs to keep it there. No, he can't. Barrera gets it back in front, and Lee Horne lunges to try and move in the chicane. Can't make it. Up into 7th place goes the Italian driver. Lee Horne, you can see there, he was desperate to try and keep it ahead of him, but he just couldn't. Brilliant move from the Italian driver. But at the end of lap 1, Alex Ward leads from Georgiadis, who's not letting him get away just yet. Deeney is just behind, and so is Jürgen Matsby-Pedersen. Into turn 1 we go. Cross 1 curb, across the 2nd curb. And all drivers taking turn 1 and 2 very, very well at the moment. Touch wood, touch wood. You might have heard the sound of the wooden table there I'm using tonight, not my rig. Unfortunately, it's a bit disassembled right now, my rig is. Ian Deeney, 3rd place at the moment. Ian Deeney seems to be one of the kings of the reverse grid in this season. He won Paul Ricard and did very well due to reverse grid, and did very well at Hungaroring due to reverse grid. And all those results, them and other results, has got him 9th in the championship. This is William Barrera trying the outside of Fraser Rostens and shaking a little bit. Going into the corner, oh, going wide back there is Matej Zenko. He went off on the gravel there, and he'll lose out to Lee Horne. He's got Coleman Corkery pressurising him in 11th there. Let's head back towards the front as going wide there was Alex Ward, and Georgiades also went wide and a bit slow coming out the chicane. Ian Deeney has now taken second place, and Jürgen Madsby Pedersen will take third place. He goes over to block and he might be trying to move on Ian Deeney. Oh, it's a brave move if he can make it. No, he can't. There's 3 wide going into the corner there. Jeff Perkis nearly put into the tyres there. William Barrera trying a cheeky move on Fraser Rostons, but they just about got away with it. Is their driver serving a slowdown penalty? I think that was Rostons trying to serve one. 3 wide going into turn 3. Barrera's on the inside and he takes all of them. He gets past Fraser Rostons and Neil Crave, but Rostons has got the undergun, so has Neil Crave. Still 3 wide between the 3 of them coming out of the corner. They just swap around. Rostons there holds off Neil Crave. He has got him done and dusted. He needs to try and work his way back past William Barrera. Ian Deeney is catching up with the Chevrolet, who's struggling down the straights here. Oh, it's who to watch. Oh, and Fraser Rostons sideways. Well held from the next gen driver, but Neil Crave is going to try an undercut. Pulls out of it. Neil Crave pulls out of it, does not go for it. Matej Zenko has got himself back ahead of Lee Horne. Horne is struggling there. He's down to 10th from his starting position of 7th. It's a difficult track to overtake on. Well, unless you drive on a ladder, it seems. Down the main straight we go. Alex Ward trying his best to hold off the Honda of Ian Deeney. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen is into the top 3. Can he work out how to get into the top 2 spots? Jürgen Madsby Pedersen's without a win in his Crest Autosport and Next Gen racing history. Alex Ward going very slow through the chicane as Ian Deeney takes the lead in this race. Oh, what a big hit up the rear of Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. Georgiades is sent him wide. Georgiades lost out as a result and concedes positions to Perkis. And Barrera drops down to 6th place, a little late on the brakes there. Thankfully, nothing happened to Pedersen and nothing too serious happened to Georgiades. He's still in the running in the top 10 here. Great racing we're seeing from these drivers at the moment. Can it get better, or will it get worse? Let's find out. Georgiades has allowed Rostons to get up the inside, tried closing the door, but it was too late. Rostons moves ahead, and also moving ahead is Neil Crave. Oh, and there's cars all over the place here. What's happened here? That was Neil Crave. It's gone all squirrely, and look at all these cars side by side trying to get by the stricken Honda here of Georgiades. They're all trying to find their way past him. Georgiades, welcome to the front of the grid, getting beaten up quite a bit here. But I'm sure he's enjoying it. He's got Lee Horne trying to pass him now. At the front, Deeney still hangs on to it, but Alex Ward has not let him get away. Still trying to maintain, trying to get back up into that top spot. Ian Deeney has a win to his name so far this season at Paul Ricard. Could he get his 2nd here? Rostons with a big move on No, it's Matej Zenko here. And he might have found his way back past. William Barrera's back down to 7th. It did look like he was going to get he did get himself into the top 5 at one point. It hasn't quite worked out. Coleman Corkery has got himself into the top 10. Something's happened to Lee Horne. He's got a lot of damage on the front of his car there. He might have hit the bollard, the chicane, and we missed it. And Neil Crave has dropped down some places as well. I wonder if something happened to Lee Horne and Neil Crave. Oh, look at this. Alex Ward real close to Ian Deeney, but can't make the move. Got Rostons real close to Matej Zenko. Rostons is putting in a good shift tonight. He's really hassling the larders tonight. But William Barrera had a very good run coming out of the corner. He's on board with Rostons, and there goes the larder, much better out of the corner, and into 6th place goes the Italian of William Barrera. Sit rep on Lee Horne. He's still going, and this is Neil Crave trying to make up some lost positions, back into 12th position. David Kernhan, who was sent to the back in race 1, is back into 11th in the running again for the top 10. Reverse grid spot is 18, and there's 18 drivers here, so it could be...
Ooh, as he struggled getting through the chicane there, it could be a pole position here for Elliott House if he finishes. You have to finish the race to be eligible for a reverse grid. Deeney and Ward still going at the top here. Pedersen can't seem to gain on them. He's losing a little bit of ground. Oh, and Deeney goes a little bit wide going through the fast curve there. But Alex Ward can't make the move at the inside. Is he trying to time this? Is he trying to time this to the end? If I was Alex Ward, I'd be trying to get into the lead as quick as possible and try and break away from the battling drivers behind. But I might be wrong. It might not be possible for Alex Ward to do that right now with the Chevrolet so low on power. And William Barrera going very wide coming out the exit of the final corner there. Fraser Rostons in the Honda. Big acceleration on the ladder. Into turn one we go, and I think Rostons is going to back out of it. As we all know, going side by side through turns 1 and 2 is not a good idea. And Rostons thought well about that. It was an opportunity presented to him, but he couldn't quite take it. Ward is as close as he's been to Ian Deeney, but coming out of the corner, we will just see that Honda pull away now, or will we? The Honda is without slipstream, but the Chevrolet, even with a little bit less power, get a little bit of help from slipstream here, and he's not letting that Honda get away. He's keeping up. We approach the corner, and the Chevrolet actually got to 262 kilometers per hour then, which is pretty good for the Chevrolet. He's going to try and move on the inside. Here's Alex Ward. The door's opened up for him, but he can't quite get his nose in there. Maybe he has to be a little bit braver on the brakes, but it's close. It is real close between these two drivers. The battling between them will allow Pedersen to catch up though. Pedersen can see the top spot. Can he try something? Can he get himself into first and take his first win in Crest Autosport Next Gen history for himself? Matej Zenko has caught up with the top 4 here, and he might try a move on Jeff Perkins, former championship leader, soon. Coleman Corkery has got himself into the top 10. And he's battling with David Kernhan. Lee Horne, he's got a lot of damage on that car, and I think it is slowing him down. He is struggling. And they are catching. 3rd, 4th and 5th here are catching the top 2. William Barrera hasn't got an answer yet in this race. He can't seem to get up with the top 5 right now. But Alex Ward, he can see 3rd, 4th and 5th catching up with him, and Deeney will be aware of that as well. Glances to the mirrors just to keep an eye on things behind them. And Ward is a little bit further off on this lap than he was on the previous. Deeney has done well on this lap to hold the distance away from Alex Ward. What can Ward do? The underpowered Chevrolet, he's almost waiting for a mistake from Ian Deeney. He did brush the grass a little bit. That's going to scrub off his tyres, and he's now found the inside. Here goes Alex Ward down the main straight here. Can he keep it alongside, and can he outbrake the Honda going into the chicane? Turns 1 and 2 coming up. Late on the brakes. Ward can't stay side to side. The Honda had enough gas in it to get in front of the Chevrolet again. Oh, but a big undercut here from Alex Ward. Has he found the inside? Deeney goes to block it, but Ward backs out of it, and look at that. That's Jürgen Madsby Pedersen in the 3rd place there, taking a look as well. This is going to be a real interesting end to this race. Don't take your eyes off, ladies and gentlemen. Who's going to win this race? Let us know in the comments. You've got 3 minutes to go, and plenty could happen. Pulling out of the slipstream goes Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. He gets alongside the Chevrolet. Into 2nd place goes the Danish driver of Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. And now he sets his sights on the top spot. Could this be the race? Ian Deeney has been defending so well though. Can he keep going? This will be a brilliant win for Ian Deeney as well. Either of these drivers. 2.5 minutes to go. Deeney runs wide in the chicane there. He loses a little bit of pace. Can Pedersen get a good run? It seems that Deeney recovered from it. Down the main straight we go. We've still got 2 laps to go in this race before we see the checkered flag. Jeff Perkis in the white Lada pulls out of the slipstream there, not to look at a move, but to slow down the car a little bit. Through the chicane we go. Oh, and Ward has bumped over the curb too much. He'll lose a position to Matezenko here. He goes to block it, but he can't quite make it work. Down into 5th place, he'll go behind Jeff Perkis, and maybe even William Barrera will take him. Oh, he tries tucking back in behind Jeff Perkis to try and protect his position. On board with Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. This is a big opportunity here. Look at the slipstream coming to the Lada here. This is a track where it is so much favoured over all other cars. He pulls to the inside. Dini closes the door. A bit of contact was made then. And Dini certainly did shut the door then. But was Jürgen Madsby Pedersen even alongside? I'm not even sure. There was a little bit of contact, but it seemed to be right at the back of the bumper there. But it'll have to come on another lap. Is it going to be Ian Dini's second win? Jürgen Madsby Pedersen's first win? Matezenko's third win? He's got a good run on the Lada as we start the final lap here at Salzburgring. Race 2 at the night. Back behind Jürgen pulls Matezenko, who has a bit more ballast on his car. 22 kilos, I do believe, is on that Lada of his. Into turn 1 we go. Dini goes through the chicane. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. Don't think he got quite as good a run as Matezenko did. Zenko will pull to the inside. Pedersen will go to defend it. This is going to be a big final lap here. Dini has got it under control at the moment. Pedersen has slowed down a lot and he's lost a lot of ground from Ian Dini. Dini will be relieved about that. But look at this. This is how close Zenko is to the Danish driver ahead of him. Danish driver, Dutch driver's name on his back. I'm sure there's a bit of resentment to that. Barrera has passed Alex Ward for 5th place. Oh, look at that move from Jeff Perkis. Just about caught it, and into 3rd place goes Jeff Perkis. A brilliant move on the final lap here. Alex Ward might be taking back the position here, but Ian Dini might have won his 2nd race of the season here. He denies Jürgen Madsby Pedersen his first win, but I'm sure it will come. With repeat races like that, I'm sure it will come one day. Jeff Perkis with a great move on this final lap here to take the 3rd spot. But Dini takes his 2nd win of the season. His first came at Paul Ricard. His 2nd has come here at Salzburgring. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen with his best result of the season. And Jeff Perkis getting himself on the podium again. Matezenko takes 4th place just ahead of his teammate William Barrera from 10th on the grid. Alex Ward takes 6th position, having lost out on the penultimate with 3 laps to go. Actually, Fraser Rostens takes 7th from David Kernhan, getting himself from near the back of the grid up to 8th. Pole sitter Georgiades stays in the top 10 to finish 9th, just ahead of Neil Crave. And Lee Horne, with a stricken car there, takes 11th. But your race winner in this race was Ian Dini. A fabulous battle at the front of the grid here between Dini, Pedersen, Ward, Zenko and Perkis. At many points in that race, Rostens was involved in too. Great to watch. Now, once we've rounded off the results, we will be going for a quick break. But when we come back, it'll be race 3, which is a 25-minute feature race. 25 minutes of action like that? Yes, please. We are just waiting for the final few cars to finish this race, and then we can classify the results. There we go. Everyone has finished in a DNF to report of Andrea Balcio at the back of the grid there. Disconnected, I believe. But Dini takes the win from Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. Perkis takes 3rd from Matezenko. Barrera 5th with Ward in 6th. Rostens takes 7th from David Kernhan. Georgiades takes 9th with Neil Crave in 10th. Lee Horne takes 11th from Coleman Corkery in 12th. Zariah Garunian takes 13th from Jamie Dory in 14th. Steven de Gravelia in 15th with Ollie Hansen in 16th. Heike Navalov in 17th with Elliot House. Last of the finishers taking 18th, and will take reverse grid pole position for the next race. It'll be a full reverse grid of what we see on our screens there. And when we come back in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, it will be the final race of the night. Don't go away, we'll be back soon. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. Welcome back everyone to Salzburgring in Austria. This is the World Touring Car Challenge presented to you by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. We're here at the Salzburgring, the second Red Bull owned circuit here in Western Austria. The 4.2 kilometer circuit is hosted. Great racing for us tonight. Only 8 turns on this circuit, but it's 8 great turns featuring drama and excitement. As we mentioned, all these manufacturers' flaws and perks are coming out in tonight's racing, but we have the Chevrolet Cruze, Honda Civic, Lada Vesta and Volvo S60 from the WTCC 2015, 16 and 17 categories. And what racing we've seen from these 3 cars tonight. We have the 25-minute feature race coming up for you in just a few moments' time. 25 minutes and the reverse grid will be of the top 18 from this race. But a little bit of housekeeping before we get underway. This is the end of the first half of the season. We've got another 6 rounds to go after the conclusion of tonight. We started off all them weeks ago at Monza in Italy, and the second round of the season took place at Paul Ricard in southern France. We went north to Belgium. The Spa-Francorchamps circuit featured round 3, with the Slovakia ring featuring round 4 of the season. The Hungaroring hosted round 5, and this week it is Salzburgring. In 2 weeks from today, we'll be at the Moscow Raceway, so if you thought the Ladas had an advantage here, it's probably going to have an advantage to their home track in Russia on round 7. But let's find out in 2 weeks' time. 1 week after Moscow will be Sonoma in the USA. Twin Ring Motegi will feature round 9 of the championship in Japan. Then we're over to China for round 10 of the season at Shanghai Intermediate WTCC layout. Chiang in Thailand will host the penultimate round of the season, and the final round of the season, where else is it going to be? It's the Green Hell, Nordschleife in Germany, to feature the final round of the season in the full 24-hour layout of the complex, the whole Nordschleife section, as well as the Grand Prix section. What a night of racing that's going to be on the 9th of December to see us through to Christmas. Apex Tracks, thank you to them, our lead sponsors of this league, for providing the main prize for this championship, a model sculpture crafted from F1 technology. Model sculpture of the Nordschleife to hang in your room if you are the winning driver of this series, which at the moment, the championship leader coming into tonight's round is Lee Horne. Who will it be coming out of tonight? We'll find out. The trophies provided by Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop, available to the top 3 in the Pro and Am category championships. And you can still get involved in this season if you want to. You can't really have much chance of winning those prizes, having entered so late, but it's still worth getting involved in the racing, so please do. Head over to crestautosport.com and nextgenracing.co.uk to get involved in the racing itself. We join the live action here at Salzburgring. There's a couple of things to note before we start tonight's racing. We mentioned at the start of the night that the championship order decides the ballast that the cars carry heading into this round, but the ballast has now reset for this third race of the night. The ballast will be based on the qualifying results from earlier on today. So these were the qualifying results from earlier on. I know it's not the most glamorous of images, but this is all we can do with what the tools we're given by RaceRoom. Give us some broadcasting gear, please. William Barrera, having qualified on pole position, will carry the most amount of ballast into this race. He'll carry 40 kilos on his car. And it runs down in increments of 4 across the top 10. And there are some drivers who carry 22 kilos mandatory ballast, having entered late in the season and are pro category drivers. Those drivers will include Soraya Garunian, Coleman Corkery and Andrea Balsio. And we will go through the grid for the final race of the night shortly. But a big shout out to our sponsors yet again of the 2 series: Apex Tracks, Powermax Racing, 603 Autosport, Fast R, Track Racer and Joyce Design. Again, if you want to get involved in this series, you can. You can enter at crestautosport.com or nextgenracing.co.uk. There are also links available to both organisations' Facebook groups in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook. If you're watching on Twitch, all you need to do is go to Facebook and search for Next Gen Racing or Crest Autosport RaceRoom Leagues to join those groups. And welcome along if you're watching on the stream. If you just want to keep watching the series, which I don't blame you, it is great to watch. Please do give us a like, share, follow or subscribe from wherever you are watching. It does help support the series, it does help support the channels to help us keep delivering this great content for you. So as we head into the final 2 minutes of this warm-up practice session here, we will go through the grid for this final race of the night. So as we mentioned earlier on, the grid for race 3 is decided on the results of race 2, but the top 18 will be reversed. As all 18 cars finished in the top 18, it will be a full reverse of those 18. So Elliott House will start this race on pole position with Heike Navlos starting second. Third will start Ollie Janssen with Stephen de Gravelia in fourth. Jamie Dory will start 5th with Soraya Garunian in 6th. Coleman Corkery will start 7th with championship leader Lee Horne in 8th place. Neil Crave will start 9th place with Anastasios Georgiadis in 10th. David Kernhan will start 11th with Fraser Rostens in 12th. 13th will be Alex Ward with William Barrera, the race 1 winner, in 14th. Matej Zenko will start 15th with Jeff Perkis, who took the 3rd place spot away from him, will start 16th. Starting 17th will be Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, who came so close to his opening win in RaceRoom history, I believe. But he was denied by Ian Deeney, who'll start this race in 18th. Andrea Balsio, if he's back in the server, he did have a disconnection, but if he's back in the server, which I believe he is, he will start 19th position. That is your grid for this race coming up very, very shortly. A couple of comments on YouTube as we ask who's going to win this race. Yeah, I can't work out who they're voting for. But who's it going to be? We had Ian Deeney winning race 2. We had William Barrera winning race 1. William Barrera has been the fastest driver out there today, but there's a couple of drivers at the front of the grid here. I'll put the qualifying results back up for you as we descend into race 3. I just want to point out that Elliott House got himself up to 6th at one point in race 1 from near the back of the grid. And he's starting first here. He's certainly one to look out for, but there's plenty of drivers to look out for. Let's see how we get on today in this 3rd race of the night. So here we go, drivers line up on the grid. This is the third race of the night of the World Touring Car Challenge Round 6 at Salzburgring, presented to you by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. On behalf of Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing TV, welcome along. My name's Alex Everitt, your commentator tonight. At some point in the next 25 minutes, we're going to have a race winner. And at some point tonight, we have got to have a Driver of the Day, the Apex Tracks Driver of the Day award. And you can help by putting in the comments who you think deserves that award. But we've got 25 minutes of racing to watch now. Elliott House is on the front row alongside Heike Navaluf in the Honda. Lights are red. Away we go. Good start for Elliott House there, getting well away from the two Hondas behind him of Navaluf and Janssen. Up towards the chicane we go, and there's a big shuffling in the middle of the field there. But up towards turn one we go. Elliott House goes to defend the inside, but he is in the clear at the moment as he breaks fairly early into turn one to try and make sure he gets through there safe and sound. Ollie Janssen getting a bit held back there. Stephen de Grevelier puts himself into third place, and Janssen had to guard off from Jamie Dory and Lee Horne there. Horne gets himself up to 6th place already as alongside his NXTGEN Racing teammate Jamie Dory as we go round the banked corner of turn 3 here. Lee Horne on the outside here, he was tremendous in race 3 last week at the Hungaroring, and he's trying to get through the field fairly quickly earlier on here in race 3. Can he get himself alongside Ollie Janssen? He's got Jamie Dory to help him out, but Jamie Dory's pulled out of his slipstream and is pulled into the slipstream of Ollie Janssen here. It is very close between all drivers as we plunge into turn 4. On the inside of Lee Horne is Ollie Janssen, but Lee Horne has gone round the outside and will take the position of 4th place from Ollie Janssen. Great move from Lee Horne and a good start to this race for him. Race 1 winner, William Barrera, is into 11th place and dropped 1 place. Ian Deeney, the race 2 winner, has dropped down to 19th. Oh, a lot of grass being kicked up there as we go through the chicane, but at the end of lap 1, Elliott House leads by 1.6 seconds ahead of Heike Navaluf. De Grevelier gets himself into the top 3 and is being hunted down by fellow Chevrolet driver Lee Horne at the moment. No move yet from Lee Horne, breaking into the hairpin. Oh, and there's a spin back there. A spin on the straights. Zaraya Garunian spins it, and he's collected Ian Deeney. Into the wall he goes. I'm not really sure what happened to Zaraya Garunian then. But it's a miserable night on his return to RaceRoom, and Jeff Perkis, no idea where he was, but he has to retire from this race. Big drama here. Matej Zenko is involved as well. It just seemed to be a random spin in the middle of the track there. And Zenko hasn't reset yet, but we must resume to the racing. That might be 4 drivers out of this race. Well, actually, Ian Deeney is still going, and so is Zaraya Garunian. But an end to the night for Matej Zenko and Jeff Perkis. Real unfortunate for them. Elliott House leads away, still only 1.6 seconds clear of Heike Navaluf, who is second ahead of Stephen de Grevelier. He stays third, just ahead of Lee Horne for the time being. Now Lee Horne has got a big opportunity here to try and make up these places and try and get himself to the top spot before anyone around him in the championship catches up. That's if they can catch up. But he's up against a Honda, he's up against a Lada, and the Chevrolets have struggled against them today. Trying for 3rd place now is Lee Horne. Is he going to be later on the brakes than Stephen de Grevelier? No, he's not. He lets Grevelier back through and stays 4th place for the time being. Who else have we got to keep an eye on tonight? William Barrera in 11th place at the moment. He started 14th, so he's up a fair few places at the moment as he tries the inside of Fraser Roston's. A big move on the inside there, but he might have made that work. Place for William Barrera at the moment. David Kernhan trying to move on Ollie Janssen here. He has the inside for the right-hander. Oh, something's happened to Stephen de Gravelli. I was looking away then, dealing with an issue. Oh, and he spun in the chicane, it seems. And he drops down to 14th and out of contention for the top 3. A lot of damage on that car. It might have been what happened last week. He had a few disconnections. But down in 14th goes the Belgian driver. At the top still, Elliott House has dropped time from Heike Navalov here. 1.2, less than 1 second between them now as they go into the third corner here. Lee Horne in third place there. What can Lee Horne do here? He's got his teammate Jamie Dory, who hasn't had a good night. He's expressed his difficulty tonight in the Discord channel. Just not his night. But all is not lost. After tonight, the first of 2 drop rounds are implemented, and that does help out quite a few drivers in the field. Lee Horne will be desperate for good points in this race. He's up against William Barrera and others. He wants to be as far ahead of him as he can. William Barrera, Neil Crave, Jamie Dory, David Kernhan, and Jeff Perkins, who now has a retirement to his name in this race. Into turn 1 we go. It's all rather dispersed here in this race. Rather different to what happened in race 2. That was probably one of the better races of the season we've had in race 2. Good start to the race here from Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. He's having a good round here. He's in 11th place and he's got there from 17th on the grid. And there's another retirement to report on. Coleman Corkery has retired from this race. What was looking like a pretty decent night for him has come to an end. Now Lee Horne, what can he do? He's within 2 seconds of Elliott House. And he's within half a second of Heike Navalov here. The Chevrolet's ability through the corners and Lee Horne's outright talent is what's getting him. Look how much he's gained on Navalov through the corner there. This is what Lee Horne can do with this Chevrolet. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with that Chevrolet on the twistier tracks such as Sonoma. And I'm going to say the Nordschleife. We did have a Sabine Schmitz tribute race a couple of months ago. Lee Horne still sporting the livery that he used that day. Oh, and a big spin there! Big spin there, or sideways moment for Heike Navalov, and Lee Horne had to evade by going across the chicane. Thankfully, neither of them hit the tyre wall, but that'll be a slowdown penalty for Lee Horne to serve. And that puts them both down a position, and Jamie Dory up into second position. That allows Elliott House to stretch a lead here. Leader of the AM Category Championship coming into tonight, and this win will certainly help him out. His nearest AM Category rival in this race, anyway, is Ollie Janssen. And Coleman Corkery has just let us know that he went head-to-head with the Bollard, and the Bollard won. A Clash song comes to head, but rather unfortunate for Coleman there. Hopefully see him back next time at Moscow. Lee Horne is trying his hands on Jamie Dory here. Goes wide at the chicane and has to evade the Bollard there. Coleman Corkery knows what I'm talking about there. And now my surrender, third place here. Lee Horne is trying desperately to get into the higher positions, but bad luck's just hitting him. And now David Kernhan is getting rather close to Lee Horne, as is Neil Crave just behind him. Can Lee Horne complete this move on Navalov? Yes, he can. Navalov has had a relatively quiet night tonight. Doing very well in the championship is Navalov, himself 7th coming into tonight. We're looking here at Anastasios Georgiadis, who's had a good night tonight. He's been in the top 10 in every race so far. That's the best record he's had all season, and last season if you include that. And he's looking at trying to get by William Barrera here. There's a bit of damage on the front of his car here. That will be slowing him down here, and that's why the Honda is able to get alongside. Oh, Georgiadis went very wide there. That could have spat him off into the tyres if he wasn't over to the right. If he was over to the left by about a metre more, that would have put him into the tyres. But a good night this is from Georgiadis at the moment. 3 top 10s on the cards for him. We're looking at Kernhan here in the number 15 James Thompson liveried Lada. I think it was James Thompson's last World Touring Car season. He did in the 2016 Lada here. Penalty on our notice there for Andrea Balcio, who's in 13th place at the moment. The disconnection in race 2. He has gained from 19th to 13th, so big improvement at the moment for Balcio. Oh, look at this. This is Kernhan getting alongside Heike Navalov. Is he able to keep this going? On the inside, holds the inside, into the corner we go, wheel-to-wheel contact, and Kernhan goes sideways, and that allows Crave through. Navalov certainly did shut the door on Kernhan there to hold his position, and that drops Kernhan down to 6th place, and he has to try again. Might be one for the stewards after the race, that one. But see how Kernhan feels about it. He'll have to try again to get back past. Elliott House still leads, 2.6 seconds clear. He's having a bit of a quiet race here as we approach the halfway point, but he won't care. If he gets a win, he'll be happy. Elliott House 10th in the championship at the moment and 1st in the AM category championship coming into tonight. You'll certainly be pleased with that, but it was a race 1 that got a bit scuppered, and race 2 didn't go all to plan. So his AM championship, it might not have escalated too much. It might still be fairly close to the likes of Ole Janssen and Georgiadis maybe. And we have swap of positions between Crave and Navalov. Crave gets past Navalov a whole lot easier than Kernhan tried only a lap ago. Into 4th place goes Neil Crave. He's had a bit of a topsy-turvy night, has Neil Crave. A few good results here and there tonight. He got 2nd place. Yes, he got 2nd place in race 1. I can't remember where he got in race 2. But picking up good points, consistent points as usual, is Mr. Crave. Inside. That is Kernhan going for the move on Navalov, and Navalov has to release Kernhan ahead of him. And into the top 5 goes the Brit. He can set his sights back on Neil Crave now. Elliott House has lost out a lot of ground somewhere as Jamie Dory has reeled him in by 2 seconds in the last lap. And this will give Jamie Dory an opportunity to go for a win, which he probably didn't think would come tonight. But he'll take it. And if Lee Horne can see them battling ahead, he might be able to catch them. Potentially that will happen, all happen in the next 11.5 minutes. We've got Georgiadis battling with Alex Ward for 9th place. Georgiadis on the outside. Ward takes to the inside line, the better line, and gets the position from him. And we've got Jürgen Mansby Pedersen cruising in towards the Greek driver here. Jamie Dory very close to the Lada coming out the final corner here. We've definitely seen that Chevrolet is better in Sector 3 than the Lada, but it's these parts of the track where the Chevrolet struggles. But Jamie Dory seems to have done well to keep up. And he's tried the move on Elliott House. Through the corner they go side by side. How they did that is beyond me, but they're still side by side. A bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, and Lee Horne has caught up. He's trying the outside, going through turn 3. A bit of a nudge up the rear from Elliott House, and a bit of understeer into Lee Horne. He keeps second place. This is the view from Lee Horne. Dory has taken the lead here. A brilliant move around the outside. Elliott House did well to hang on to the inside, and both did well not to hit the bollards. But look how quick this ladder is down the straight. Elliott House has the inside of Jamie Dory, and I think he's got ahead already. Can Lee Horne get up the inside of Jamie Dory on the right-hander here? Yes, he can. Jamie Dory half shuts the door, but has still got Lee Horne on his inside, and Lee Horne will take the position from Jamie Dory. This is Lee Horne's opportunity to get into that top spot. And Jamie Dory had a very good exit from that corner, and he's back ahead of Lee Horne. And into... Oh, something's happened to Jamie Dory. He's had a disconnection. Oh, and what was... I think he's come back now. Yeah, a disconnection for Jamie Dory, and that will see his chances of a good result in this race ended. Oh, what could have been. The battle for the lead for Jamie Dory was on and out of the race. Real unfortunate. He has reverted to the pits. That is game over for Jamie Dory, unfortunately. That is not a way. It's the sim racing equivalent of an engine blowing up in real life. Internet crashes or game crashes or anything like that. It's just, yeah, heartbreaking. The battle at the front goes on though. Lee Horne continues to pursue the ladder ahead of him. Is this the ladder he will finally catch and pass? It's been a struggle for the Chevys all night. Oh, what a big undercut there from Lee Horne. Is he able to? No, he's not. I thought he might have got himself alongside, but not just yet. And look at Neil Crave. He is catching up towards the top 2 here. Horne goes to the outside for turn 1. Can he do the same as Jamie Dory? It's a repeat move, but... oh, muscling his way back past, and a big hit up the rear from Neil Crave. Elliott House muscles his way back in front of Lee Horne. Lee Horne, a strange skip over the tyres there. Has he got damage on his car? He might well do. It was a big hit from the rear. It was a big hit at the tyres, which might have damaged the floor tray, might have damaged the suspension. That puts Neil Crave into second, and it puts Elliott House back in the clear at the front there. I mean, Lee Horne, you can see what he's doing. He's trying exactly the same move as Jamie Dory. And you can see Elliott House just thought, nope, I can't let this one go. Oh, and Lee Horne struggling to keep hold of the rear. Maybe there is suspension damage on that car. He did report to me on Discord that he did have this, suspension damage in race 2. Was contact with someone else which put him into the bollard. But when he goes wide at the chicane there, this could be more positions in the losing for Lee Horne, as he's got Kernhan and Navalov catching behind. In the distance there, you've got William Barrera and Alex Ward. Behind them also is Ollie Hansen, Jürgen Madsby-Pedersen, who's up to 9th now, and Anastasios Georgiadis. This is Jürgen Madsby-Pedersen trying the inside of Ollie Hansen. He gets in front. What a move from Jürgen Madsby-Pedersen. That ladder has just electrified him in this series. Jürgen's back. Jürgen we saw last season, where he put himself into the pro category and put in some real stellar performances. Neil Crave is within a second of Elliott House. Neil Crave, who we haven't mentioned much tonight statistically, has had 6 top 3 finishes this season and 1 win. Could this be win number 2 on its way? But Elliott House Elliott House is going to be trying to get his first win of the season. We've got Georgiades real close to Janssen on the outside here. Can he outbrake his fellow Honda driver into the hairpin here? Janssen has the better line, and the Honda, yeah, its grip is rather low compared to other cars, and when fighting against one another, it's rather better being on the inside, but Georgiades couldn't get there. But he'll try again. It's good. It's been a good night for Georgiades. I've been rather impressed with him tonight. Elliott House exits the chicane, and Neil Craig went a little bit wide there. Safe to avoid a slowdown penalty, but it might have compromised his speed a little bit, and it might cause a lack of grip in his tyres into the hairpin. It does. He goes a little bit wide there, but he's able to get a late apex. What can the Lada do? Neil Crave against the other Lada. Oh, Neil Crave goes wide. He's off wide. Onto the gravel he goes. He did push a little bit too hard, and somehow he saved that. Usually hitting the grass on the outside there just sends you off into the tyres. It might have been a very sweaty moment there for Neil Crave, but he makes it through. Elliott House with another lifeline. In the clear again by just over a second with 4 minutes to go. David Kernhan and Heike Navalov join the fight for the top spot, it seems. Lee Horne in 5th place there, was fighting for the lead, but a bit of damage on that car has caused him to lose quite a bit of pace. We've got Alex Ward there up against another damaged car of William Barrera. Ward trying the outside but couldn't quite get in front of the Lada in time. Elliott House might be struggling with the tyres at this point, as Neil Crave has reeled him in by about half a second in the last 2 corners. Let's get on board with Neil Crave. This is his bid for his 2nd win of the season. Can he do it? Gaining on Elliott House ahead of him. Will he try a move into turn 4? No, he won't. Okay, we have 3 minutes to go, which means we'll have 2 laps to go in this race upon the completion of this one. 4 retirements from this race: Jeff Perkis, Matej Zenko, Coleman Corkery and Jamie Dory. 15 cars remain. And the winner of this race is as of yet undecided. Neil Crave looks left, can't get alongside, and while I tell you what, that was a good run out of the corner from Neil Crave there, but he was held up a little bit and he has to defend also from David Kernhan. 3 Ladas battling it out. The one at the front is Elliott House in the number 14 livery, the number 7 livery is Neil Crave, and the number 15 livery is David Kernhan. Try your best to identify the drivers here. This is the view from David Kernhan. Let's get on board with Neil Crave. Will he look left? Will he look right? The right is being covered at the moment. He has to look to the outside. Can he switch it? No, he can't. He has to back over it. Whoa, and a sideways moment there for Neil Crave. He just about kept that one going. And that's been 2 moments in this race where Neil Crave has miraculously kept hold of the car. But as we start the final lap in this race, it's time for us to announce our Apex Tracks Driver of the Day award. And it is going to go, I'm going to do this very quickly. It is Jürgen Madsby. No, it's not Jamie, it's not Lee Horne. We'll go back to the front, but our Driver of the Day is not Lee Horne, it is Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. Oh, it's Elliott House almost pushed through. Okay, for some reason our Driver of the Day thing is not working, but it is Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, our Driver of the Day today. And Elliott House almost pushed through the chicane there. One more opportunity for Neil Crave to do this. Quite far back, but he might be able to get a good draft and get alongside Elliott House, ready for the final half of the track. Elliott House has had it in his hands all race long, all 18 laps. And Neil Crave wants to take it away on this final one. Into turn 4 we go. House still leads. He moves to the outside, breaking into turn 5. A bit of a nudge at the rear from Neil Crave. It does put Elliott House wide, but not enough. Through the chicane, there's not much opportunity left to go. House just has to keep it going through these final few corners. Through the final corner. And he has done it. Elliott House wins his first win of the season here at race 3 at Salzburgring to see out the first half of the season. It is a ladder 1, 2, 3 as Neil Crave gets another second position tonight. Another capable candidate for Driver of the Day award. And it is still coming up with Lee Horne. I really am not sure why. But David Kernhan with 3rd place. A good recovery throughout the night to get himself that podium there. And again, to remind you, our Apex Tracks Driver of the Day award is going to Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. We didn't have a chance to really speak about it, but a brilliant race 2 for him. It's been a much improved night for Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. But we give you our standings from race 3 here. Elliott House takes the win from Neil Crave. David Kernhan takes 3rd position. 4th place for Heike Navalov. Lee Horne in 5th, followed by Alex Ward. William Barrera takes 7th place from Jürgen Madsby Pedersen in 8th. Ollie Janssen takes 9th from Anastasios Georgiadis, a good night for him in 10th. Fraser Ostens takes 11th from Ian Deeney in 12th. Zoraya Garunian, a quiet night for him, 13th. Andrea Balcio in 14th, followed by Stephen de Gravelia, and the non-finishers were Jamie Dory, Coleman Corkery, Matej Zenko and Jeff Perkis. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the World Touring Car Challenge coming to you here from Salzburgring, presented by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. Next week, we are having a week off. But in 2 weeks' time, we'll be off to Moscow Raceway in Russia, where the Larders, who have been dominant for much of the season, will be on home turf. So should it be more domination from them? We'll find out on the 4th of November. In the meantime, huge thank you to our sponsors, Apex Tracks, and partners including PowerMax Racing, Track Racer, Fast R, 603 Autosport, and Joyce Design. Thank you for watching. Please do give us a like, follow, share, and or subscribe from wherever you are watching. And we'll see you next time at the Moscow Raceway. I've been Alex Everitt from Crest Autosport, and this has been Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing World Touring Car Challenge. See you next time. Good night.